actually, but something about that game, man, it was interesting because Shimano was winning like
Hey, everybody. If anyone's here, I'm going to do a bit of sketching. And yesterday I tried to have a stream with talking, and it failed spectacularly. I don't know what happened. It just stopped after a few minutes. Maybe I had a bug or something. So today is attempt number 2. So let's see how far we get this time. And I'm just gonna do something that I do almost every day. And if you know me on some kind of social media thing, it's this stuff called relax smile draw. So I'm gonna just do it and maybe go over talking about what it is that I'm doing with that, or what the deal is. So it's I'm a slow talker, so and I have a really hard time drawing and talking at the same time. So I'll do my best. Probably it just means I'll be drawing at only half capacity, but that's fine. I'll just keep it something simple, maybe. So what relax smell draw is, it's a way of dealing with, let me turn the music down a little bit. It's a way of dealing with bad things that happen if you're an artist. And bad things, by that I mean things like oh, physical stress or injuries. You know, you wouldn't think that you could get injuries from drawing, because it seems a little bit funny to say it like that. But it actually happens more often than one would think, which is kind of funny. Unless you're one of the people what that it happens to, then it's not so funny. Not haha funny in any case. So this happened to me, and that's the reason I came up with this whole shtick, this whole spiel, is because at some point I I started to experience pain in my body, my wrist and shoulder and neck, and that was caused by, well, you know, usually people say it's bad posture or maybe not taking enough breaks or not doing enough stretching. A bunch of different reasons there could be for, you know, you getting this kind of injury. We call it, sometimes call it repetitive stress, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one source, you know, one reason or another. It could be any number of reasons depending on the person, or at least any number of reasons on the surface. But as I've discovered by my experiments and research into this thing that happens, it has a kind of common cause underlying all this stuff. Why do people experience, you know, injuries like carpal tunnel or pain and unsteadiness, sometimes stiffness in their shoulder and neck and or wrist and hand? And it's not really related exclusively to art either. It can happen to just about anybody these days, if you use a computer or not. So that's the thing that I was looking into. How does this happen? Why did it happen to me? And how can I not have it happen as much? And it's I mean the actual reason in the end, what I found out was it's really simple. It's just stress. No, that's what it comes down to, is stress. Not being able to understand how stress comes about, how it can have, what kind of impacts it can have on your body and mind, and how not to be affected by it. And it sounds really simple when I say it like that, but actually, I think if you hear me, listen to me explain how I come to that conclusion and how I've, discovered to deal with it, and you might find that it's slightly more complicated than that, but not much, just a little bit more complicated. And actually, it's kind of a bonus that I discovered while looking for a way to free myself from the physical injury and pain that's related to working improperly, not managing my stress correctly or efficiently, is that actually stress has the same exact effect on your mind. And when you let stress accumulate in your body to the point where it becomes so severe that the body kind of gives up or breaks down or goes into protest and says, "Hey, I can't, I can't work under these conditions physically." Then you have an injury or disease that prevents you from doing what you like. So in my case, drawing and painting. But same thing, if you let stress accumulate in your body and mind to a point where your mind gives up and says, I can't work under these conditions, then you experience depression or just a severe lack of motivation or energy or creativity. That's kind of your way, a way for a mind to go into protest and say, "Hey, can we not do things like this, please?" So it can happen either way, body or mind. And sometimes both happen at the same time, where you get really sick in the body or injured, and at the same time you get very down in your mood, and you just can't really enjoy anything. Lack of appetite, sleep a lot, can't get out of bed in the morning, don't really want to talk to anyone, or don't have any good ideas. All the ideas you have is somehow stale. So that's how, what I found anyway, that stress can manifest as a kind of blocker in body or mind. And so that's the cause of what stopped me from being able to do the things that I like. This buildup of stress and tension, and to the point of stopping myself either with the injury or sickness or with some kind of mental blockage that I can't work, or I can't, actually this is more like play. I can't play anymore. So that's where relax, smile, and draw came from. It's kind of a direct way of dealing with stress. And so at first what I tried to do was just approach it purely from the physical perspective, because I had assumed that if I'm getting a lot of soreness and tightness, and I get this carpal tunnel or RSI, repetitive stress injury, that is just my body not working right? So it could be a simple thing. I just rest more or do more stretches, take more breaks, adopt a better posture maybe, or pick up some yoga, you know, you want to get some kind of gear, this one of these vests that kind of has elastic bands in them to correct your posture, posture correction devices. Go get some massages or physiotherapy. Um, I tried a whole bunch of things to deal with this because it was really stressful to experience like a chronic physical discomfort. In my case, it was very painful. So much so that I can't ignore it. I'm always every day, 24 hours aware that there's pain happening. But the thing with this kind of solution that's very one-sided from the physical point of view is that, well, number one, it works really only as a kind of a band-aid solution, because I would maybe do a massage or do some yoga or sauna or take some pain meds, whatever it is. And I've tried probably everything that I could think of short of some surgery. But it would just work for a little while. It would work for, I don't know, sometimes for a few hours right after did it. Sometimes maybe even a day or two. Or sometimes I take a vacation, take some days off, and then everything will be fine. But as soon as I go back to doing things, to drawing and painting again, then I would notice right away that, oh, there it goes. The pain and soreness will slowly but surely start coming back again. And I was observing this for a while, trying to figure out what the deal is. Why is it? How come I didn't notice this before? Why did this? To me, it felt like I was perfectly fine for a long time. No problems, everything healthy and fine. And then suddenly, at least it felt like suddenly, I got started getting all these things and stuff. But if I thought about it and kind of realized that's not actually the case. When I reflect upon what I was experiencing in the past, for example, I remember that actually, yeah, this was happening all the time. Actually, I was experiencing feeling this kind of pains and sores when, especially when I was much younger and I had a lot of more habit of being, more reckless than now. For example, staying up all night playing games or staying up for a few days at a time at school working on some project. Not taking care of myself, basically. That I do remember now that those kind of things were causing me quite a bit of issues, health issues. And it's just that I was able to power through that somehow, with sheer passion of what I was doing. Maybe it was a really fun project, a really cool game. Um, my body was much younger then and more resilient, so it was just kind of recovering quickly. So if I worked really hard for a few weeks straight, no sleep, lots of coffee, and got myself into started having a bout of sickness. I'll just recover and then kind of put it behind me and go right back to doing what I was already doing that got me into trouble in the first place. So it wasn't the case that this was something new and different. It was always happening in one way or another, and I just got to a point now in my life where it became hard to ignore. It became the recovery was it's not what it used to be, and I can't just have a lot of bad habits that's causing me a lot of pain, and then just take a few days off, take a vacation, get a massage, make it go away, so that and then keep doing the same thing. So I wasn't that band-aid solution just wasn't working for me anymore. And I had to do something different. I had to get rid of whatever this was at the source. Which meant I had to find out what the source is. I mean, there's two, I considered a few possibilities. So is it the activity itself? Do I have to just completely give up drawing and painting in order to not experience any kind of problems, stress-related problems? Um, I didn't really, that didn't really jive with me. I wasn't, on the one hand, there was a lot of, I really liked doing it. I didn't want to just simply give it up. On the other hand, it didn't make sense to me that something that requires so little muscular effort could lead to such serious problems. Because if you ever had any episodes with repetitive stress injury, it's not, I remember kind of laughing it off when I was younger and hearing other people get it and maybe see them take days off or wear some medical devices like braces and stuff. I would think that's a little bit ridiculous. Like, how could you sustain any kind of real injury by pressing a few plastic things around on a glass screen? It sounds far-fetched to me, until it happened to me. Then then I wasn't laughing anymore. So it can be really painful, like to the point where my hands were shaking so much from the pain that I couldn't physically hold the stylus steady or a pen steady in order to draw. It was that bad. And that comes from what I thought was pressing keys on the keyboard and poking the screen with the stylus. I thought, no, that couldn't be the case, that the physical act was causing this problem. I thought it was implausible. Which meant there may be something else that is the reason for this happening. Well, thought, what else is there? If it's not a physical act of it, then maybe it's something I'm doing mentally. I mean, there's a lot of things it's not necessarily mental. Like you can definitely adjust your posture better so that you're not you're using not so much effort, or you can take more frequent breaks, and those things definitely do help. It's not like there's no physical component to this. But there definitely seemed like something else was at play. For example, why is it so hard to notice how my body's feeling when I get into drawing and painting? If I knew that if I could tell with each action that I was doing with the changes of my posture, or how hard I'm gripping the stylus, or what angle my wrist is at, and all this, if I could just be aware of all this at all times, then I wouldn't do anything that was, as soon as I felt that it was bad for my body, I would just stop, right? Then there would be no problems if I could just be aware of it all the time. But I'm not. As soon as I start doing things on the computer, or playing games, or even this, because even other activities, I notice, like I don't know, writing in a notebook, or cooking, or whatever. As soon as I start concentrating and getting into an activity, then I just forget. Your mind goes into the thing, and you forget how body feels. You stop noticing if what you're doing is harmful or not. And if you go long enough without noticing, then you end up doing things that are not so healthy, like your posture slips, or you start gripping the pen too tightly. I mean, like, how much force does it take to use the stylus? The stylus is, super light. It's lighter than a knife and forks they used to eat. And I haven't heard of anyone getting a repetitive stress injury from eating. But to be fair, nobody eats 8 hours a day. So this kind of observation was telling me that there is a mental component to this. That somehow attention was a big part of this problem, this phenomenon of doing things in an unhealthy way, and not noticing that it is unhealthy, not noticing the damage that is being done, and not doing something about it until it's too late, until it becomes debilitating, or at least, a hindrance. So then I began to investigate what exactly is the mental phenomenon here. What is at work? But if I could figure out what I'm doing with my mind that lets me get lost and not pay attention and get tense. Because the body doesn't get tense by itself, right? I mean, I can tell my fingers how hard to hold the pen and how hard to press keys. I can tell my spine how straight to sit. So the fact that I have bad posture is possibly telling me that I have a bad attitude. That's one way of putting it. But there's something going on in my mind that is not healthy. It's leading to damage. So I went and looked for what kind of things causes this kind of tension and tightness to happen in my body. What mental phenomenon causes tension and tightness in the body? And what I found was that there is definitely a kind of relationship between mind and body like that, where there's as I'm drawing, for example, there's a lot of times where I go, I press I paint a stroke, or I paint to some stage and I sit back and look at it, and my mind goes, that's not good, or like, oh man, I don't like that. Why is it like that? And as soon as my mind goes like that, where I don't like something that happened, then I notice that makes me tense up right away. That makes that makes my face kind of scrunch up. I start frowning, and it makes my brows tighten, my jaws clench, and makes my hands, I mean the whole body, makes my whole body go a bit tighter. Tighter than it needs to be. And so I kept observing that to see if it's true or not. And the more I looked at it, the more accurate it became that this was actually happening. That every time I dislike something, as I'm doing stuff, I'm drawing and painting, or any other activity, basically, it's easier to catch this during the drawing and painting because I'm sitting down, being quite still, and it's easy to observe what's going on in myself in those moments. So, yeah, with a mental reaction like that, there came physical stress, physical tension. And then what happens is I do something, I don't like it, I frown, I clench my jaws, I go like, okay, I don't like that, I'm gonna fix it. Because I need to do something nice. I really want to make this a good painting or good drawing. It needs to be better than the last one. Or it needs to be better than this other artist who is younger than me. Or, a bunch of stories that goes along one of those lines. And I'll try harder. I'll say, okay, we can do this, we can do that. And sometimes I succeed a little bit and make something that's a bit nicer. And I'm a bit happy. But the thing is, you can't make something as good as you like all the time. And maybe if you're born with a paintbrush in your hands, in your little, chubby baby hands. Maybe you're like Leonardo da Vinci reincarnate or something. You could, in theory, paint or draw something nice every single time. Every stroke is perfect, better than the last one. Nothing wrong. Theoretically, it's possible, I guess, but I haven't met anyone like that. If you're not like that, and I'm certainly not, then there's going to be a lot of times through the course of, you know, uh, one painting, really. Like in this one painting, there can be a lot of times where the stroke is not nice. It's not as good as it can be. It's not pretty. It's not cool or whatever. And it seems like there can be a reaction, like that mental emotional reaction that comes with every time that there is a dislike of something that's not done, quote unquote, correct or nicely or perfectly. The mind goes, why did that happen? I don't like that. And then the body tightens up. And when it happens enough, you get tight enough in the body, then it starts to feel, that starts to accumulate. That's stress right there. Your body is getting is being under so much excess tension that doesn't need to be there, that it starts to break down a little bit. Like any machinery, if you have the machinery running that's over, there's more pressure or force in there than it was, than is optimal for the machine, then it's going to break down faster. So I think that's what basically happens. From my observation, that's pretty much what happens to a human body. So it's the emotional reaction that says, I did something, I made something, or I said something or thought of something even, and it's not how I like. It's not the best, and I don't like it. And that I don't like comes in the form of it's kind of correlated with a tightness in your body, and with enough of this kind of repetition, the body accumulates enough of the tension and tightness, and it breaks down. At first, it's little things like stiffness and a little bit of soreness that can maybe be recovered rather quickly, but eventually it gets to a point. If this keeps going, eventually it goes to a point where it just your body's natural ability to repair itself is not able to cope with the amount of stress that's accumulating, and you got carpal tunnel or RSI or whatever. So that's what happened to me from my observation. And so that's made me think, if being tense like that is causing me such problems, how can I not be? So how can I avoid this tension from building up like that? I mean, I think it's kind of, in my mind, practical to do. If one kind of thing leads to a bad result, then do the opposite. Then that should, in theory, lead to a different kind of result, right? So if being tight and tense means injury and stiffness, then perhaps being relaxed is what would protect from those kind of injuries. All right, so, but it's not physical, right? As we've talked before, it's a kind of thing that happens in the mind first. It's the mental, emotional reaction that says, "I don't like this." That starts this chain reaction. So how do I deal with that? How can I not like something, or how can I not like something? Is it possible even? Yeah, I feel I was on a journey. This is interesting questions. Is it possible to do things without emotionally reacting to them? And there had to be a lot of experimenting, basically, because this is never had to do something like that before. I was doing kind of the same things for so long, for years, that I wasn't used to changing my mind like that. I was used to just, you know, um, repairing the damage afterwards. Do everything how I do them, and then later um, take a break, get some therapy, and make it go away, make the problem go away. So yeah, it's time to try something different, I thought. And I think I got the breakthrough when I saw this research. I saw a few research into the science of smiling, and I mean I don't know if these are major studies. Like maybe they're not known as well as how we know electricity or gravity or something. But it seemed at least good enough as a starting point to try out. And what the idea uh, was that when you smile, your brain doesn't really care whether you're smiling because you're happy, or if you're happy because you're smiling. That there is a kind of connection between brain and the muscles responsible for smiling. And the system does something like whenever the muscles move in a way that is consistent with being happy, i.e., smiling, corners of the mouth being pushed up. Whenever the muscles do that, the brain releases, it does some electrical chemical reactions in the skull that is corresponding with happiness and relaxation. So the brain doesn't care. If your mouth, the corner of the mouth go up, brain looks at it and goes, look at that. I guess I'm happy then. All right, everybody. We're in happy mode. Do the thing. The brain would go and do that stuff and make you happy. It doesn't matter if something happened beforehand. Maybe somebody told you something nice. Maybe you got a gift or present. Maybe you got a promotion. Maybe you won a game. Brain don't care. It just says, all right, look at that. There's happiness stuff happening in the muscles. So let's make it happen, boys. So that kind of tipped me off that how to affect the mind is not by thinking about it, because I tried that. To think my way out of depression, for example, to think, I really shouldn't feel bad. I mean, in theory, I should be happy because I have all these nice things in my life. Or I'll think, I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be bored. I want to draw. I want to be creative. I want to be energetic. But I just don't. That thinking about what I wish I was feeling didn't seem to do much. In fact, at times it feels like it's having the opposite effect. That the more I think about, the more I wish to feel differently, the worse I felt. So that's one of the reasons this research came as a kind of a revelation to me, because they were describing a two-way interaction between the mind and the body, in which not one was dominant in terms of cause and effect. It wasn't that mind was the boss and body had to do whatever it was told to do. And it wasn't that the mind is a slave and the body dictates how the mind feels. But it was a kind of two-way street kind of thing, where what happens in the mind has a direct effect on the body, and what happens in the body has a direct effect in the mind. So I thought that could be it. That could be the key to how to avoid, how to let go of mental tension, is that I would first be able to notice that I am under mental tension. That'll be the start. And then when I notice it, and use to not think or wish or will that tension away in the mind, but to use a change in the body to remove this tension in the mind. So that's what I started doing. That every time I'm doing something, a task, especially a task, is if it's something that you like to do, that you care a lot about, you have a emotional kind of attachment to it, that you really want to do it well, you really care about that the result is good, and those kind of things comes with the most amount of emotional reaction. Makes sense, right? If I don't care about ice skating, for example, and somebody invites me to go ice skate, and I trip and fall on my butt, I'll just laugh and go like, "Oh, there you go. That's what happens." Have a balance of a walrus on high heels. So what can you expect? I wouldn't care so much about it. But I'm much more likely to care if I'm doing a drawing that I'm supposed to be good at. I'm supposed to be my livelihood or my hobby or passion, and I can't do it right. And I'll think, oh man, like I should be better than this. So that's a big factor in there, is the things that matter, have a lot of attachment to. They have a tendency to cause a bigger emotional reaction, and a big emotional reaction equals to a big amount of tension in the body. So I would watch myself draw and paint and see, okay, here it goes. Now I did a stroke. Ah, yeah, that's not right. I don't like that. Why can't it be better? And I feel this first, starts in the head, right in the head, and then it spreads to the face and then the neck. And it seems to go right from the brain, down the central nervous system, down the spine. It just goes everywhere. This tension, this crunching up, this physical reaction of I don't like this. And right at that moment, since I feel that, I stop what I'm doing for a little bit and just relax and smile. The change in the body, because that should affect what's happening in the mind, that emotional unrest, the dissatisfaction with what's happening right now, the not liking what is happening. So I sit there and I just relax. I don't do anything else. I don't care about what's happening on the screen, if it's right or not, if it's better or not, if it's as good as somebody else or not. I just relax and smile. And then this mental tension in the head diffuses. Because basically, what are you saying with yourself when you're relaxing and smiling? You can't be, it's not the attitude of someone who really desperately wants something to relax and smile. It's the kind of attitude, I shouldn't say attitude because it seems so ephemeral, but it's more like something more concrete than that. It's a mental state. It's a mental state of someone who says, this is fine, this is okay. When that person relaxes and smiles. And when your mind is saying it's fine, it's all right, it's okay, then it's not disliking, it's not having a strong emotional disturbance anymore. And without a strong emotional disturbance, it stops pushing the body into a state of agitation and tension. And then when the body is more relaxed, it feeds back into the mind. So your mind is more relaxed also. So this kind of goes in a sort of feedback loop where you just get progressively more and more relaxed about what is happening. And I thought there was always kind of a possibility. I thought that I would just stop doing anything because who cares, right? If I don't care what I'm doing, then surely I'd just stop doing anything at all. But it's not really. It turned out it's not necessarily true. I can still keep drawing and painting with a minimal amount of attention happening or thought. And it's not so much a conscious effort. I'm not consciously thinking through the things I'm drawing and painting. I'm not going like, okay, here's a rock. This is the left side of the rock. This is the right side. There's some mosses. There's some seaweed. But just I can just do that. Let my subconscious mind do that part. And, well, my attention is just kind of remains on staying relaxed and smiling. And I feel like that's basically a way of mentally saying over and over that this is fine. This is okay. It's not nothing wrong with this. And if something I do, I don't really, it's not what I wanted. It's not nice. It's still okay. I mean, yeah, naturally, can't do everything perfect all the time. So it's okay to make strokes or compositions or lighting that's off, and it's okay to change it. You don't have to. You just don't get rid of the emotional disturbance around that having to change something. And it's perfectly possible to do things, to draw and paint, to make changes, to experiment without any kind of emotional drama around it. I'm never really. I can do something and go like, I don't like this rock. I'll get rid of it. Normally I might, without doing this kind of experiment, I might think, oh yeah, but I painted this rock. I put all this detail in it. I don't want to waste all that time and effort. I'll feel a little bit iffy about it emotionally. I'll be a little bit emotional about things. You get attached to the stuff that you make. But after I started doing this, I can make changes like that. I'm not that so attached to things like that. I just go like, yeah, does it look good? No, okay, change it. Fine. If it looks good, all right, keep it. Also fine. No problems there. So the biggest, I think, in my case anyway, the biggest bonus to that was, as long as my mind is thinking, yeah, this is fine, it's all right, I'm having fun, then my body's very relaxed and I don't experience the same kind of pains and soreness so much anymore. That's a great bonus. Uh, I used to have, I think I described this many times, but I had so much sores and pains that I basically had to do this. For me, it wasn't optional. It wasn't a nice bonus. I had to find a way to be able to draw and paint without pain. Like, who would want to do something, their favorite activity in the world, but with the price that you have to be in a lot of pain all the time while doing it? It's not ideal. I went and investigated why the pain was there and found a way to be without it. And it came with a really interesting side effect. Like, a really interesting side effect was that I don't experience art blocks anymore. Not like I used to. I used to go have these days where I just really hate drawing. I'll look at something and it'll trigger me. It's very irrational. Emotions are super irrational. It's kind of the definition of irrationality, really. I'll look at something nice and it'll trigger me to feel bad because I wish I could do something like that. If I saw something not nice, it'll trigger me because I thought that just reminds me of my own incompetence or lack of skill or whatever. Basically, anything can be construed to be a good reason to feel bad. And through this experiment, what I've learned was that those things are not the reasons at all. The reason for this kind of feeling, feeling defeat, feeling lack of motivation to do anything, seemed to have been because I had cultivated such a habit in my mind of not liking myself, not liking what I do, not accepting basically the reality of the situation, with every, and it's not like a big dramatic thing that happens in one stroke. It's kind of accumulation of millions of tiny little actions in the mind that, paint a stroke, don't like it, I don't like this. Paint another stroke, I don't like this, undo it. Paint another stroke, I don't like this, undo it. Do that a few times, then you're just about ready to Alt F4 and go outside. Or something like that, It's this kind of cultivation of a harmful mindset. It's a mindset that's very, very stringent and critical. That says, oh, you have to do this right. You got to do it like this. You got to do it better. You got to do it better than so and so. Is this kind of emotional statements that is a sign that something is going on, a bad habit is forming, because those emotional statements are unqualified. It's impossible to measure. It's impossible to satisfy. You can only be satisfied when your drawing is better than so and so. It's going to kind of up the stake on you. If you manage to surpass whatever standard it had set, your mind had set, then it will just set a different one that's even higher than the first one. And then when you meet that, he's going to set another one. And it will just repeat this ad infinitum. So emotional judgments on one's own work is insatiable. It has no real measure of success. And it leads to attitude of, I don't like what I'm doing, I don't like how I am not good enough. I'm not this enough or that enough. I'm basically not accepting the present situation. This is what I'm doing at the moment. This is how good I am. This is the things I'm able to do. And I want to be something else. And you can't win a comparison like that. It's unwinnable, because what is happening is just what's happening. It's just the truth. Can't win in a fight against the truth. Truth always wins. So I started applying this habit really big time. That by noticing that I'm expressing discontent, dislike in my mind, emotionally reacting to what I'm doing, and excuse me, and causing tensions and tightness in my body. I just relax and smile. I stop what I'm doing and relax and smile, and then continue until continue when I feel that okay, there's no tension here. I'm really relaxed. This really cultivated a completely different kind of attitude that says, yeah, it's fine. Whatever is happening, it's okay. You're not good enough, fine. Do more, do better next time. Do it differently. Try something else. And it works in a way. It's surprising that it works because how do you get better at something? You do it again and again while really paying attention to it, and you remain observant. And you try different things. So you get better, right? It's repetition, attention. In fact, I'd say you can't not get better at something if you follow that formula. If you pay attention and you do it enough times while paying attention, not just mindlessly repeating. So the key is to keep doing it, not be defeated, not give up, not be deflated, not to let your dissatisfaction with the result stop you from continuing. As long as you're still going forward, you're gaining something, you're learning. Since you stop, you're not learning anything. And this attitude of its okayness, of accepting however it is, whatever level you are, that makes you kind of very resilient against this self-criticism, this over self-criticism, this unfairness to yourself, basically. I mean, you wouldn't judge someone else. I wouldn't judge someone else with my standards or my former standards to say, okay, you have to, every time you do anything, do it better than the last time, never failing. Yeah, I mean, that's saying we're our own worst critics. No joke. So that's basically, that is the gist behind relax, smile, and draw. Is how I noticed what really stops me from being healthy and being happy, kind of mental habits that I had unknowingly adopted over many years, and how to use a little physical trick to stop doing that. I mean, the physical trick is really not the important part of it. The important part of it is the paying attention to the right things. The noticing of how this stuff happening in my mind is causing the problems in the body. And that's really what's happening. It's not a physical thing at all. It's a mental exercise, a mental experiment. And it's still ongoing. I'm still finding ways of doing it better, paying better attention, and not slipping. And so far, it's been going really good. This relax, smile, draw, I've been doing just every day, something every day, and I don't care what it is I'm doing. I don't care how good it is. I don't care if it's popular. It's just here so that I can practice being more relaxed and being more smiley, and being content and happy with whatever the result is. And I've never had so much, made so much progress in my learning, my art learning, um, until I started doing this. I'm learning so much every day, just because I'm really open to trying new things, and that can range from big things like, maybe today I'll do some 3D, or I'll do some, I don't know, multi-point perspective. I'll learn something I completely was not practiced before. Or it can be quite small scale things. Like maybe I'll use this kind of brush that I've never used before, or maybe I'll try a weird, wacky composition that is, in theory, as far as I know, shouldn't look good. And I'll try things like that, because why not? If it doesn't work, then, well, I've learned something. I've learned one way to not make a painting. That's a valuable experience. And if I learn something every day, even if it's a tiny little thing a day, then in a year I'll have learned a lot. And most importantly, I'll have had a lot of fun. I'll have saved myself, my body, from a lot of pain. That's always nice, right? And I think it has a real potential to help a lot of other people. I've been sharing this with some friends and acquaintances, or other artists who are also dealing with similar issues. I mean, this is not unique or rare in any way. A lot of people deal with a variety of art blockage or health issues that can be, if not completely cured, but at least a little bit alleviated with the inclusion of a lot of relaxing and being content and happy with what's happening. So, like, here I am trying something a little bit bonkers in this composition, just to see what happens. What the heck, right? All right, so I think that's it for me, for a quick sketch and a little bit of discussion about what I've been doing and what I've learned and how it might help other people. So if you watch this, then this technique can be applied to a lot of things. I've been doing it with, like, my daily chores, like doing dishes or cooking or going out to shop, or any number of things. It seems like as long as my face is not occupied by the activity, I can, have time to smile. Then it's possible to do this, to pay attention and relax and smile and do the thing without accumulating tension, both bodily and mentally tension, during the activity. And it seems to help everything. But most importantly, it makes me happy. think that's above all else. Everything else is a small, minor side effect in comparison. So try this out. I have a article that goes into the technique of it. It is on my DeviantArt under the account name Nymphoradora, Nimphdora. And if you go to gallery, writings of Z, it'll be here. How to draw and be happy. And also, if you do end up drawing or painting or doing photography or making a dish or whatever, feel free to come over here. We have a Facebook group for people who are trying this out. We post their stuff and kind of encourage each other and have a laugh, because there's some really funny stuff happening. Some of my favorite drawings are from non-artists because they come up with such unique ideas. So, Facebook group, Relax Mouth Draw. And if you do try it, let me know how it goes for you. And I'll probably be doing this kind of thing more often. So hopefully, if you like it, if you feel like it's good for you, you can benefit something from it, then stop by in the future. And feel free to hit me up or say hi or something. I don't bite. Alright, so thanks and see you later.